And we're back. Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Habage Hardcore Vanilla Minecraft. We're sort of still in the same play session that we had been on for the last three videos, which hopefully you've been able to check out on YouTube. If not, check the playlist. What we are currently doing, or I guess, real news update. I stepped away from the screen for a little while, got out. It's cool here at my home, but sun finally poked out for the first time in a couple of days. Got out and enjoyed that for a little bit. Had some dinner and am now back and ready to get after it once more. I was totally amazed, and I'm going to start opening things up here while we talk and catch up a little bit. I was completely surprised to find how eager I was after wrapping up the last episode and saying, yeah, I've done this for a few hours. I'm good to go. How eager I was to get back into it. Just really, really having a blast getting back after this. So, Oi, our new pup, who we got? Come on in, boy. Come on. There you go. Why don't you have a seat? We'll let you stay upstairs. So we talked about, for anybody who may not be watching these either directly in order or it's been a break since you saw the last episode. We have recently, out in the distance beyond the great ice sea, located a coastal village chock full of villagery goodness, and we're about to try to make the most of that by paying them, or before we pay them a visit, preparing a welcoming space for them. So this is going to be a well practiced. I'm just going to throw a bunch of these in. Eventually they'll come in handy. A fairly well, and still always evolving, kind of based on the circumstances, build that I've used and enjoyed using over quite a number of worlds. It's really kind of become a staple, and there's parts of it that aggravate the heck out of me. Just working with villagers, anybody who's done that for any length of time knows it can really carry with it some challenges and some frustrations. But don't let that hold you back from giving it a whirl or really trying it out. It absolutely carries with it the benefits of all this trading that we're going to do, and further, it gives your game a kind of depth. We've been doing all this farming, and you guys may have somewhat rolled your eyes as we did that, thinking, "Oh, here we go." Why is he doing all these potatoes? Do we really need so many potatoes? We got some. We're all good here. Move along. Next thing. But I definitely know that once you have it up and going, the ease with which you can, expand your tools or have the tools that you think you need to have more success in your world, more fun, they're really pretty remarkable, and that's something not to lose track of. So this is our cool cave that we've seen a few times. I'm a little intimidated by the proximity here, but I'm looking for a solid enough looking landmass that I can kind of dig back in with comfort without worrying that I'm just going to pop back out on the other side to a sea or on the back of a hill. I think this might do us though. And it's not the end of the world if we get a little exposed, and frankly, we may run into a cave or something along the way. But here's kind of what the way these work when I set them up. So we'll probably take down, aside from a ridge there, because we're not gonna worry overly about going up too high, but we'll kind of flatten out this face and start here. And what we're going to kind of do is make this a water-based entrance where we will boat in both with our villagers and ourselves, and that helps to get out of the boat. And that is going to give us a kind of level of security and comfort that you don't always get out and about in the world. Certainly not if you're a villager. And when we do that, the real hope here is that by boat we came over very quickly. It's not far. We're not going to be traveling across the world to do it, but we're also not right at our base. And when I work with villagers, that's something I still maintain is the right decision. Some people will do it and deal with the consequences, and there's no problem with that mentality. But you've got a very good potential to start a raid at your own base, and that's fine. After a certain point, raids are, you have to take them seriously. You can't just completely dismiss the potential that they could do you some damage. But you also are pretty equipped to deal with them. They can be inconvenient though, and usually, in my experience, when they happen is when you've forgotten. You're in the middle of something else, you want to get something done, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're surrounded by a whole new crop wave of monsters, and suddenly have a 20-minute fight on your hands. And I just don't would prefer to keep that distance from here. If I'm at my base, and I know I've got the effect of having killed a pillager leader, I can drink some milk before I come over and just not deal with it. If I want to, then I could certainly set it up to bring them on in. But it is a little bit tough to work from within the flowing water, but we're getting there. As soon as we stabilize and don't have to worry about depth, it ends up almost just like our farms. You just reach forward and fill in each row with source water blocks, and then everything becomes nice and calm and still. So here we go. This is going to be our entrance, and then we're going to use, before we forget, let's get some more water. We're going to seal off or make it secure by putting a row of fences right here at the front, and we'll be able to sail right on in from our boat, and then we're going to have to raise the roof there to make it so we don't get stuck in our own boat, and that will come in handy throughout the entire space. But let's just go ahead and do that now. The other nice thing about these is that, especially while you're getting it set up, by the nature of making it secure for the villagers, it's also pretty handy for just working through the night. You don't have to worry yourself that you're going to get attacked while you're working. So we're just going to push this back out. I'm going to leave it too high back here at the entrance. I think that'll look kind of nice. But this will allow me to sail through and then flip up and close the gates without having to turn my boat slowly around to face it and that kind of stuff. So I'll just throw a little bit of hidden torchlight up above. That'll kind of light the entrance a little bit, and then we want some light back here as we come into our main room. So what's our little villager hostel going to look like? Well, I think to start, we kind of want to get an idea of, do we have as much space as we'd like to work here, or do we need more? How's all that going to go? So on kind of our typical spacing, we're just going to kick out another, and that may not even be right. What was that, 4? You know what? I think let's keep those as 3s. And let's just start with that much space. And let's see if we can go that far in the opposite direction as well before we reach an edge or find a cave or any of that other potential fun that we could have. You'll see why we're kind of switching to the 3 space. This could be our edge. Now we got all the way out to 1 more torch, and I don't mind pushing out the edge at all. We can kind of build up the some windows and that kind of stuff if we even get that far. It's just kind of nice to be able to work securely indoors as we get started. And one thing I don't want is dirt walls in here. While they're kind of gonna have to deal with being confined, I'm not trying to make this a prison for my friends that are coming to join me. I'm really, security and an opportunity for trade is what I'm hyping, not confinement or dirt walls. That's horrible. So the dirt made us already go a bit further than we'd intended, but since we have, let's just kick down 2, see if we have that on this side. Awesome. All right. Well, at least for a width, this is a pretty good starting point. Now we're going to go in 5. And we'll just completely open this up. And this is going to be kind of an open workspace flow area for myself. Each of my villagers, with the exception of the farmers are going to kind of have a shared space, and they're going to be our first residents. We're going to welcome them in first and kind of start things there. And as I mentioned in one of the previous videos, we will be feeding them as we trade our crops with them. So we're going to be building up supplies of emeralds, and at the same time, we're going to be encouraging them to make young villagers. And those villagers will grow up and they won't have jobs because they're far from home. And that will all work out very nicely for us because they will become a future generation of librarians. And this is really going to be egghead country in here. Personally, for me, I love books, love libraries. I wish there was more time in the day where you could not only read your favorite books, but and I haven't been into a library in a long time, but I certainly remember, and I guess even since the pandemic began, at one point I went into a bookstore just to buy a gift for someone, and it was man, it's been so long since I've had a reason to go into a bookstore that it felt almost like going to going to an amusement park or something like that. Something you don't do all the time, but is a fun memory. And as eager and excuse me, as eager and as happy as I am to have all the variety of titles and um, options for reading available on, I have a Kindle, but, if you have a Nook or Kindle or any of those kind of e-readers on your phone or your mobile devices, there's so many reader apps for those, and you do get a wide range of possible reading when you do that, but there's something undeniably nice about not looking for a particular book or title and just browsing in a bookstore, real bookstore with real books, spines on a shelf that you can look through and see what the how the publisher decided to package it, or give you that first opportunity to look and see what that author has put on paper for you. So I just eat that up. I think it's a fading, passing. I guess like most retail shopping, it's a thing that is quickly becoming a part of a passing age or world. We don't have the need to justify having those spaces dedicated anymore to books. And while it with their success, more and more people become critical of Amazon, and certainly they're no longer just about books. But that was how they started. That was their deal when eBay and auctions and those kind of things existed. People didn't really shop on the internet too much, but one safe thing that people who were beginning to, for lack of a better word, get hooked on the idea of the activities and information that was out there on the web. Um, Books were pretty commonplace. Even when you didn't necessarily get into the more traditional sides of computer. You weren't a programmer. You weren't building hardware or creating soft programs or anything like that. Back in the day, it was more you didn't build a web page, so you weren't exactly a computer aficionado, but that didn't mean that you weren't generally interested in how the world's going. A lot of people turned to the web for global visibility. When it was new, you suddenly had a communication tool that could reach beyond your local community. I've talked about that quite a bit as I thought about Minecraft, but yeah, when in the 90s, when everybody was first getting connected, whether it was through dial-up or early high-speed internet, that was a real appeal. Some of those early and younger folks may not even be too familiar, but ask anyone that's over probably 20, 30 years of age at this point, and they'll remember when there were CDs about getting online. And AOL, was the kind of the eventual winner, but there were a number of um, competitors that were seeing the potential of this internet thing, and were competing for business. So they definitely solicited providing hosting and DNS stuff and lookups and all that. And it was really before search engines became a thing per se. The Google was still far from an idea, and you didn't type anything in a search engine so much as you tried to go find sites to review comments. And I remember when, and I was already away at school when I really first started having direct access to use the internet. We through even in grade school we had computer labs, and they were pretty early. A lot of folks would laugh at what we did with our computer time back in those days, but it was a real treat back then to even have computers to for kids. It was largely play with, but they too much. So I'm trying to keep these forms as we lay out a little bit here. Sorry, maybe I'll get back to my train of thought, maybe not. But it's kind of making a series of spaces for our friends to live in. And we ran into that underground lake. We'll kind of probe the depths of that and see where they're going. But ultimately, we'd like to keep this, or go back and modify it to keep it kind of uniform in appearance. And I wouldn't mind if that was natural stone. I don't want to pretend to insult our friends' intelligence by pretending like they're not living in a hollowed out mountain. But I'm sure there's plenty of people out there listening that think, yeah, that'd be kind of cool actually. I wouldn't mind, if space became available and living was cheap to make a home. Your temperature is controlled all the time. Hopefully it's not gonna leak too much. Maybe there's some groundwater in there that you got to deal with, and things you got to be aware of. But maybe while not an exact cave, you could certainly refashion the interior and underground space, frame it from within. And if you're not using resources for the structure, you could have a nice little home to enjoy. So maybe something like that. I wish we had I'm not sure what we're just a weird little cave. So we're gonna get lots of air. This we will do with fill cobble. And I'm just trying to play it safe. I don't want to invite any trouble by getting low on air and getting stuck in here. Anytime you're, kind of like the ice talk the other day, or the last video, if you're working under a ground surface and running out of air is a possibility. Lots of precaution just to make sure it all goes nicely. So we're going to make a nice uniform floor eventually, but in the spots where it's not going to show, we'll use the cobble that we have. Here's some lava too. In the spots where it may, we'll eventually replace those. But I think we've gotten to the point where we don't need to use just raw cobblestone everywhere we go. We don't need that anymore. And before we go back to get more of our building supplies, I'd like to get this, as roughed out as as can be, so you guys have an idea of what we're going for here, and I have a better idea left of what, if anything, we need to switch out when we go. And we got some artistic decisions to make as far as what exactly is the look of our villager home going to be. Do we, maybe we switch all this out to some form of wood, except maybe the ceilings and the floors, and leave those excuse me, hiccups after dinner. The raw stone, and what I don't want to do is really commit to cooking a ton of stone right now. At the moment, we just we don't have the furnaces. We're not going to be hanging out around our base that much right at the moment, so I'd prefer not to do that. So maybe wood is a good resource to use in this case. I'm just not decided yet. I know our home is heavily wood, and that's cool. But we'll see what inspires us as we get back and kind of take a look. What I can say with absolute conviction is we're not going to use cobble. So we'll just carve these. Now we're going to kind of do these in double rows, just like this, and they can kind of expand back as far as space and time allow. One side to start is going to be our farmer area, and allow for them to have enough comfort and space to want to have young and continue to grow to fill that space. And it's a little bit of the game as we work is keeping them comfortable with their space to keep producing more and more villagers. So this one is going to have the the added fun and thrill of filling in this little lake, but we already raised it up. It's now not deep enough to really present a challenge, so we'll just finish off the water like that. We'll go ahead and carve this edge. Our villager space, which I think we're going to put right here over the once vibrant lake, is not going to have a separation as our other side did. So where on this side, each of these will be a villager's room. They'll have a bed and a lectern of their own to enjoy, and their own space to walk around. And then we'll do another set right behind this space, and that will have a whole nother set of villagers. And between each four, they'll have the chance they won't be free to move back and forth. We're going to cap these ceilings so they can't jump through, but they'll have a chance to talk to each other. And by doing what the game refers to as gossiping, they will replenish their supplies, and that will keep them stocked for trading. And they won't just constantly always have items to trade with us, but they will replenish regularly a couple times a day, so that we don't just one and done our trades and that's it. But over here on this side, we want an open space with more beds. They'll have the composting bin, which is what designates them as farmers, and the ones that are adults in here will keep as farmers. And once we find some with trades that we deem valuable, we'll keep them busy, and in more ways than one. So that's kind of the general plan over here. And for this first visit, all we want to continue to do is just give them, or get the space prepared, and then we'll run back home. We'll get the whatever building supplies we decide to go with, and I'm going to keep, I think, a low roof in this area. Once these villagers really get going, if at any point they hear zombies or feel, that they're through a wall or up above or down below or anything like that we don't catch, they'll start popping golems to protect them, and they'll wander around. But they are 3 blocks tall, so they can't come into an area that's only 2 like this. And we'll have a little lip here just to facilitate getting in and out, and we're going to gate. In fact, let's move these torches. We're going to gate so that we don't have villagers getting stuck in the water before they find a bed to call their own. So this will allow us to park the boat and keep them safe from anything wandering in from out in the world, and at the same time we'll keep young villagers from getting stuck in the boat because they wandered out to take a swim while we still didn't have them locked into a did I say locked in? We didn't have them securely snugged in their new home. But we'll use gates. Villagers, as you've all seen, can use doors very capably, and they love to open and close them. But we're not going to give them the option to open and close the doors here, because once we find villagers with trades that we like, more than trying to restrict their movement, we just want to know where those individuals are because we value them so much. They're our cornerstones of our community here, and it's a right of honor to have a sign up in your home that says what it is you like to trade and how much you're charging for it. So all that will come in time. For now, we're just making this a full quad of space. So we'll go, this is pillars every 3. These are the spaces of the individual homes. And, on the other side here, we got walls. On this one, we're going to go another 3 back. More of that stupid lake to deal with. But, we will set them up as comfortably as we can. And they will love us for it. At least we hope so. So, one more little pick here to work with. Again, we're kind of using up this white rock for our floors and ceilings rather than the cobble. But unless we just completely go with that, I think we'll maybe find something a little softer, nicer, and at the very least, we'll use some paneling for the slabs of wood to soften up the feel, so they don't just feel like they're stuck in rock. I think if I had the opportunity to live under a mountain, I would welcome some wood paneling just to make that feel a little different. So we'll see. We can maybe even give them carpet floors, although I want these to be durable, particularly for our librarians, because there's a lot of breaking of stuff in the process, and I don't want to constantly be fixing floors, so I don't think they get carpet. Sorry, guys, you're not even here to hear me, but it's gonna be the way it is. So ultimately, these wouldn't need to have gates. We can make single points of access and let them in and out there. But for uniformity's sake, I think we'll just balance everything out. And by the time we return, we'll really be pretty close to ready to go with this unit of our housing so that we can get those farmers started. That's going to be just so important for us that I don't want to waste any time. So again, this one, extra large room, lots of space. They're going to love it. It's got a 3 high ceiling, which is important because the children have to be able to bounce on the beds, or there's something about needing to have head space for them to breed. So we want to make sure that they have lots of that, and they need to have the ability to, kind of do their hopping around thing and throwing food back and forth at one another. So all of those conditions should be met now. Obviously, they'll need beds to fill out their area, but when we set them up, we'll eventually probably get to the point where we hold 6 actual farmers and have 8 beds in this space, and the farmers that we keep will give us the emeralds, the early emeralds that we want, and they'll be identified by their little trade garb, and the ones that they breed, if they do grow up in this space when they're young, they'll be able to get out of this area. They can move around all over the place, and it'll be somewhat comic because they often will get trapped with individuals in other single cells. But as soon as a night comes around, beds become owned. When you or a villager sleep in a bed, that bed becomes owned. Now, we as the player can supersede any of the villagers, and we can kind of steal the bed from them and leave them with nothing. But a villager won't steal a bed from another villager. They're very polite and respectful, and they will do their best to keep that available, or keep that sanctity of the bed. I guess they're sticklers for clean sheets, maybe. So they'll keep working to prevent conflict. And if somebody grows up, you'll see that they'll be sitting in the cell as an adult, unable to get out, while the original resident goes to sleep. And at that point, you can open the gate if you've got another cell with an open gate with a bed in it. They can just wander on. And please understand, when I say cell, I'm talking like a monastery of old. A cell there would have been a monk's room. And it implies no incarceration. Certainly not. We are not punishing or attempting to reform these villagers. It's just for their protection and giving them a whole new set of opportunities in their life. So, yeah, that's stage 1 already complete, and I think that's fairly good progress. Aside from one small underground lake, we didn't yet run into any major obstacles, and that is more valuable than you may realize. So let's dump all this cobble. We got loads of it. Let's check. Well, let's get rid of all this other junk too before we try to talk through. Let's cook our iron that we do have and retop off our coal. And we got lots of that. Cool. All right, and we'll throw our dirt. How you doing, Oy? Okay, so next job, let's reset the tools. We've got a ready shovel here, and that's not quite enough to merge there. But I'm not gonna, I want full 4 picks because at some point here we're gonna be timing in that we do need iron for all this to work. So 4 picks. Excellent. Now we're ready there. We got a lot of oak And I'm thinking let's make sure we're not short. That should be enough to get us going. We also want to grab the wool we gathered, wherever it is, and I think we'll just, hang on to the black. We got lots of white. And once we have all this wood in place, we'll decide that we're pretty good. I think, once we've got our wood paneling in place, they'll be pretty receptive to having white linens on their beds. That'll be pretty cool. And again, this really works out nicely, having what's largely a pretty straight shot. And I know it's going to be a little further to get to the village than it is between our base and this future residence site, but the convenience long term is going to be great, because once we get our two initial villagers, we're not going to be bouncing back and forth between the village and home often. We're going to be coming between home and here. The village itself can kind of continue to do its thing, and we won't have to worry about them. They'll fend for themselves, just as they always have done. So real fast, we want our crafting table, and we'll probably end up with a furnace set up here too. It won't be a long-term make or break deal, but it will help us to process. We still got a piece of coal somewhere in here, I saw. We'll keep working on that a little bit as we go. And I may, I said I don't want to cook a whole bunch of cobble. I may certainly, if we keep this end stone and then convert over their stuff, maybe do floors inside and the walls out of wood. Keeping these outer paths as stone, I would still want to make them uniform. So replacing some of this stuff with actual stone would be cool. And I don't mind using a stack of coal to make it look nice and good for our residents and good for us. That's all very cool. But I do think, and again, before I get too crazy, I think we're gonna do oak with dark oak accents, and it will maybe keep up the trend of the spruce gates just as a third. So I hope that that seems okay for other folks. You'll have to let me know once we get more complete, and I may hold out judgment on the individual cells floors. I'm going to try wood here, but I'm not going to be repeatedly breaking stuff in this room. We may have to break some beds on occasion, but we're not going to be doing the constant break, replace that we will be with our librarians until we get trades we want. So let's just, for these guys in particular, let's give them a wood floor. It'll be nice on their feet. And I think they'll enjoy it. I hope so anyway. Yeah. Now, this may seem, well, why don't we've got dark oak, and we can certainly increase, if we need to go harvest some more along the way. Once we get this initial room out of the way, I think we'll find we got lots of time to do resupply runs. So let's try it like this, and I think this might look pretty good. Let's go with regular oak on these sections, and then we'll make dark oak for the posts and the top pieces, the cross pieces that'll actually keep everyone safely secure in their homes. We've still got plenty more and can get to it. So just resupply. Alright. Now for the moment, well, I guess, no, that might be stone too. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Considering how troublesome that could be eventually, but I think we can deal with it as needed. Now the dark oak, the one drawback, I think it's a cool looking wood, but it's a little tough in your inventory to differentiate between the logs and the actual planks that you've crafted them into. So that little bit can be a bit grating. I think the way I'm going to manage this for the time being, it really becomes a question of whether or not I can replace brick should I decide that wood doesn't work for those dividers, and that would be a shared wall with individual living spaces, not cells, not prison cells, certainly, when we get to it. So what I really don't want to do is inadvertently break one of the wall pieces when I'm working and have everybody in the places where they need to be. That it gets a bit messy. And for anyone who's gotten the opportunity to work with villagers, you know they are a challenging lot. It's probably a little bit like the kindergarten teachers of the world. You know, they just kind of have to grin and bear it. So over here, we're going to leave as is for now because I want some time to either cook stone, which is what I'm leaning to. We'll do the posts eventually. Those are going to be the wood, but the floors and the at least the internal walls, I want to have stone because we're going to be repeatedly chopping lecterns with our axe, and we're going to be resetting and breaking and resetting and breaking, and there's going to be a villager trying to stand on it the whole time. We're going to be really trying hard not to hit him with the axe because especially if we have golems spawning in here, it can get a little hectic at times, and we don't want that. But before we even go further with that, we're going to make some and this is why I made a chest. Just because we have so much stuff that's going to grow on us. So next need is for these slabs. That will give us a big old supply. And this is really the essential bit. We're going to keep them secure in their homes by, much like my description of the horse stalls, and that's a vertical limitation. Villagers are really no taller than I am, but they don't know about crouching, and they won't try to do anything like that within the spaces that they're assigned. And we will use that to give them open space and the ability to communicate while keeping them from rearranging themselves on a nightly basis and making it difficult to know who's got what for sale. That's all we're really trying to do here is keep our sales straight. It has nothing to do with us not trusting them or thinking that they may run back to their own village and say that they've been absconded against their will and, mount up a posse to come after us. I don't think they'd really want to do that. That would be a lot of work for one thing. But yeah, again, we're gonna use cobble to fill in these dead spaces above our head. Normally, I don't mind just throwing a torch up and lighting them to keep further mobs from spawning, but when you start doing things with game mechanics such as, these villager trades that may or may not generate cats, may or may not generate golems, I think it's well worth your while to just keep the dead spaces to a minimum. I've never had a cat stuck in the ceiling, but I can imagine it's loud and potentially smelly if the cat never gets out. I've certainly known of folks who have had not pets or anything like that. I'm not talking like that, and I joke about the villagers, but seriously, this is very, very genuinely trying to be nice, but if you get animals stuck behind your walls or up in your attic of a real home, it gets a little rank because usually they can't get out of wherever they've gone into, and they don't necessarily make it. And when that happens, they kind of start to get ripe up there in enclosed spaces. So let's try this. Like I said, our floors, I think we're going to keep stone, and I don't know if I'm going to be sold on any of the ceiling action. One of my concerns is I've heard some lava bubbling, particularly over in this corner, and that may just be the lava fall that's over on the water. But with so much wood, I'm a little concerned that, if I start swapping out for paneling, we may have lava dripping down and lighting the whole thing on fire, and nobody wants that. I'm not too worried about that lava taking me, but is a bit of a hassle, and, we don't want to repeat this work if we don't have to, but I kind of think it might be a good look. The gray's nice, but maybe if we, we're going to have some kind of either stone bricks or just the regular stone on the walls over there. And I think softening this up with a little bit of wood may be worth it. And I don't think we'll do it in the hallways. So we got that little bit of coal. We'll whip up a furnace here before we go get our first residence. And we'll patch with actual stone here where I'd first tried some of those oak slabs, and then any of the spots that we need to as we set up the individual rooms over on the other side. So yeah, I hope this more woody look works for everybody. I think they're gonna love it. I mean, they're coming from a village that's got some wood houses, so this is gonna remind them of home pleasantly, not making them homesick, but just, hey, this is something I can feel comfortable in. I'm used to this environment, and frankly, they're gonna have a lot more room than they ever did back in their village, and they won't have to worry about zombies anymore. So win-win-win, honestly. And they're going to have so much food when we get done with them. So these are going to be stone. We got to remember to hit those as a priority. Everything else we can kind of finish up as we go. I'm not too concerned about it, but let's get a furnace built. we've got some coal now, and certainly enough to make a stack of stone. So, furnace, coal, cooking stone. That will replace these. Let's go ahead and just chop them down. And ultimately, we'll replace all the white stuff around here. But that's patchwork stuff that we can do at any point along the way. We'll have lots of time while we're waiting for them to reload trades, while they go to bed before we can sleep. So there's lots of little pockets of time where if we're not restocking our own supplies, we'll be able to work with them. As I say that, I'd like to get stone down on those two because we're going to run chests here. And maybe that means these two just to make it easy. We won't need a ton to start with, but I don't want to repeat work, right? So we'll get those in place. We'll get chests on top. There we go. We've already got some. We'll make our first batch of chests for in here so that on the next trip we can start bringing back some of our produce from our fields. And guess what? We'll definitely need to flip those again. Now we're going to be kind of building up. But yeah, it's good to have some progress here, certainly. So we'll just start all the way back. All the way back from the corner. Put these down, and we don't need to have one for everything. It's mainly, honestly, one or two is enough. But as we're able to run loads, we like to have a little bit of overflow and have stuff in hand. In order to, man, I hope I put the right thing. Yeah, I guess I just put the chest back in that hand. I was a little worried there. Okay, so those two are right. We're going to fill in these. And we've already got our spacing. So those are set. Now the last thing that I'll do, well, beds we need, and we're going to need some composting bins, but we can get these guys back for that. Now the last thing I'm going to do here is add a row of slabs on this side. Once we get the beds down, we'll be able to step up on the beds and do the same thing. Right now, it's tough to jump and catch. I don't blame the villagers for not getting out on that. That's perhaps impossible. Maybe there's some parkour masters out there that can time that jump perfectly, and maybe the gate helps. Yeah, there you go. You could go up against a gate, but beds will definitely help us get out of those. I guess one consideration is, what we're gonna do. I got an idea. Don't let me forget my awesome idea, future audience. I hope you'll get to see if I maintain it or not. So I don't need this on, we're not going to be going in and out once or a few times just to get them set with their trades. We'll be in and out with these guys. But the rest of the time, they'll be left to their own devices. It's this one that we're going to be in and out of more regularly to do the trading, get them refurbished and get them producing more villagers as they go. So at this point, with the exception of the beds, which we might as well do, we've got our wool and we've got some blocks. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the max that we can, which is they don't stack. Don't forget, beds don't stack. Before we make that any more painful than it needs to be, let's put these logs away, those logs away. Let's combine those. Dump some of these stacks. We're not going to use those. Now we can at least get a few more beds going. And bloop. And bloop. Bloop. Okay. So when we get these guys set up, I think what we're going to look for is to have our beds here, here, and here. So that's going to give us 8, and we're going to want to keep 6 designated as farmers so that we can trade our produce as it gets ready. So between all of them, we'll, as they come over, we're going to target unemployed villagers, because we want to be decent. Folks that are working over there are they're already employed. We can't better their lives as much, so we'll leave them be. We want unemployed because we don't want to have to deal with any legacy, feeling like they're still attached to an old workspace, any of that kind of stuff. We want clean start. So we'll get unemployed guys, bring them in. Once we have them in here, and we'll do that by leaving all these gates open, bringing them in with our boat, letting them out. When night falls, they will waddle their way over and settle into a bed, and that will treat us all very nicely, since we don't want to repeat that act. That was painful. Let's just get our beds and store them all made so we can just pull them out individually. Awesome. So now I think there's nothing further to do other than this rain and not knowing what time it is than to hop in our little boat and go first home, and then to get a villager buddy. You do have to open 2. I think I need to extend that, so I've got a one deep water right outside my entrance. I like to pop out of the boat, and usually you'll kind of sit on it to close the gates. It's way quicker than turning the whole boat around. But it when you sink, then it's kind of cancels it all out. So if we just put kind of an entry of blocks at the water's edge there, that'll be good. Maybe a nice use for some underwater mossy cobblestone. We wouldn't see it quite as much, but maybe as we're getting to the point of prettying up our village area, we'll put some mossy into our... Oh, you're getting all wet in the rain? You love the rain, don't you? So this is what I didn't want to forget. For that larger villager room without the post, I'm going to see if I can remember how to make a lantern. Oh, look at that. We got everything we need. It's not too terribly much. And maybe what we'll do is make a couple of these. Because it might be nice to not have the post even amid the quad cells of the other guys. Now, I should have dumped all these planks. Let's drop that. Let's only take a stack of torches. I'm going to keep everything else for the time being. I think that that'll keep us pretty well. I'll go down and say hi to your folks, Oy. Oh, it's nice and quiet down here at least. No drumming rain. Just like the villagers. They don't have to listen to pounding rain either. They get it quiet. You guys still like your ferns? Are they nice? Good job. Alright, we're just saying hi. Haven't forgotten you guys. They got kibble. We don't need to keep feeding them. If we keep feeding them, they'll keep having puppies, and soon we'll have too many puppies coming out of our ears. We don't need any more puppies, do we? Oh, you're good. So, I would love to harvest, but I think we'll do that after we get our first 2 villagers, depending on when this rainy season ends. For now, I'm just gonna jam up with potatoes, take those back with me to the to our villager residence, and I wish I knew how close we were to night now. The rain makes that all a little bit more challenging, but it's okay. We're headed in the right direction, and we can use this time. It doesn't have to not be productive just because it's raining. But I don't want to try to go greet one of our friends and select our volunteer while it's raining. Just the lower light level in general. If it turns into a storm, I don't want to have mobs showing up in the midst of that village, and so we'll do our best to avoid that by just giving them space for now, and know that the rain will always stop. To this point, the world has never yet been triggered unending rain, so that's a good thing. So we're gonna hang a torch, right? Let's see if I can get the right spot. Nope. Which was a good thing I had too. And I said torch. These are lanterns. So I don't know how annoying that's eventually gonna be, but I didn't want to end up with too low light and having some kind of danger in the midst of this. Ultimately, these guys are going to run around and go wherever I don't want them to try to get to bed. But we'll leave it like that in the hopes that once they get in there, I have less to do to catch them. Now, while it's still raining and we're still chock full of stuff, we'll just dump all these potatoes. The reason I grab potatoes, they're not an ideal trade, but we can toss them to them and get them filled up so that they can begin to produce additional friends for us. So that's a good option. Now, while we're waiting, we may as well swap out our pillars, get our new color scheme going again. And I know I initially thought maybe no dark wood because it's underground, and make it seem dark and oppressive, but I think that's going to look pretty good. The oak will help lighten it up. We'll see over here if we run into any issues, but I do think for our outer rows, we'll go ahead and use the regular oak, and that will help keep it kind of bright as an interior space, not overly dark and foreboding. So but here, as I said, we're going to want to keep the floor and the interior walls as stone so that we can use our axe repeatedly without making life hard on ourselves to break and replace the lecterns for the librarians. And if that doesn't make sense yet, bear with me. We'll have plenty of time to run through the process. I know, first time I kind of saw this, I was like, man, that seems like a lot of work. How could that ever be worthwhile? But I promise it is. It's really helpful. for the rest of the game. And for somebody who says, I like to play kind of human farmer, not automating everything, I'll certainly make use of game mechanics to help spawn mobs and that kind of stuff. But I would say, for the exact same reasons I talked about for trying to keep my gameplay natural, and the fact that you spend more time setting up some of the farms than you actually do using it, because by the time you've actually harvested them a few times, you got more resources than you're ever going to use, and you can just kind of keep these things working in the background and get everything you need with probably less effort. So that's still my take on it. Now, this is the easiest way to goof on some of this kind of build, and I'm thinking cosmetically, I definitely want that to be up high, and I don't even think you can hang a lantern on a single slab without doing that, but I think this will look better if we throw a plank up there, then hang our lantern. Oh, still too many. That'll look cool, because I know they won't be able to get up into that space. Everything else will be cushioned with our slabs here. So that just, will remove that kind of stone eyesore from the mix. So now here we go. These are going to be planks again, right to there. And that nicely masks our cobble. Replace the torches. And so I guess our villagers do hear the rain. Fair enough. But, yeah, coming along. Getting good while we wait here. Ready for action when it does dry out. Might be it. It's nighttime at least. Shh. Don't let them know we're onto it. Okay. So we'll put our planks and all our stuff away as we learn. That's trouble. Now I lay down and it's raining again. Hopefully by night it'll make this rain go away and the weather change. Shh. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's turn our boat around and go get a villager. I'll leave that open. I don't think that anything is going to be there waiting for us when we get back. And knowing where we want to get to, hopefully this will be a pretty quick trip. We don't have to kind of explore every cove as we go. We're just beelining right over to the village, which is just, I believe, up past that next point. Not quite coming into view yet, but we'll get there. What we learned definitely is not to cut through the ice, so we won't do that in the future. But Alright, we had a few more mountains, but I do maintain that, we have to make this trip twice, but doing that will save us from having to go as far to trade with villagers. And just imagine, you could trade with the villagers in the village easily enough. That's what they're there for, and certainly having a village close by is nice for that kind of stuff. But you can see how much time, this would be at a very best a full round, a day round trip to get it, but more than likely you'd have to sleep at both ends too. By the time you find the villagers you want to trade with, get all the gear loaded up to take, and then find them, take them back with you, and go. Man, you're so much boat time. Instead, we'll just just go over twice, ask for some volunteers, load them up, give them a boat ride, and get them settled into their new happy home. So, hello? Hello? Oh, sir. Would you like the opportunity to be the very first volunteer resident of a new planned community? Oh, you would? Well, excellent. So, this is our land boat. It's a new technology. Yeah, I said the same thing when people told me we're going to ride a boat on land. But you know what? They were right. It really works. And I'm just cutting right to the water. A little bit extra boat ride, but this is enjoy it time. Have you ever been out on the ocean, sir? It's pretty nice. It's deep. See, there's some sea lanterns. I think we noted those the last time when we accidentally decided to cut right through the middle of the icebergs. Yeah, there was a White Star Line ship that tried to do that once. It didn't exactly work out well. So with you, because we value your safety, we're gonna go ahead. Those are squid. Do you enjoy squid? Calamari guy? I don't think we can quite cook that. But we've got tater tots, and you may like tater tots. I hope you do. Carrots, if not. I could give you wheat or bread, but frankly, I need that for my cows. So, yeah. I eat beef, among other things. But for you guys, I think potatoes and carrots would be excellent. Yes, yes. All right. To the left, you will see the mountain range that's going to expand here to your future home. To the right, oh, there's a polar bears. Pretend you're on an Alaskan cruise, seeing the ice flows, polar bears in their natural habitat. Yeah, absolutely stunning vistas here. I can't recommend enough that you soak in the view. It's quite a nice one, and I don't know that you'll see a lot more. There's interesting rock formations here, and right behind us, we're not actually going to take the time to see it. There's a nice out exterior cave. It's kind of a sort of cave, not a complete cave, but very beautiful, very beautiful. Okay, I'll be right back with you. Let me just close those up, and then hold still now, sir. This is a little risky. I don't want to hit you. Good job. All right, now what we're gonna want to do is come on up here, sir, sir, sir. I understand maybe a little apprehension, a little feeling of homesickness, but it's okay. Let's just keep walking, and we're walking. A wonderful job. Keep walking. And hop on. Big step. Good job. All right. So now he's in. And half our job is done. We're going to hopefully repeat that one more time. Yeah, we got lots of time. If we can get our next volunteer back over here before bedtime, or even if we get him in the boat and finish it by starlight, when we get him into the cavern and open up those gates, he will literally race for a bed. So that's the hope. The real trick is going to be finding another unemployed volunteer like that gentleman, hopefully female. We don't really apply labels like that here, but yeah, we'd like to get a suitable companion for our first volunteer, and the trick is going to be making sure that they don't already have a job that they're going to be reluctant to let go of in their new life. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for the best. We've had good luck so far, and just one more quick trip will see us sitting pretty well. If it does start to get dark, it won't be a problem. We'll just throw it on the bed and grab them in the morning. But that does slow the process down, because it's then tough to get them to go into the space we set up for them with all the beds. So we'll just keep pushing forward here and maybe get him in the boat and back in the water before danger strikes. And if it does, then we're in business. So the challenge of the evening, again, as I said, we then may have to dive out of the boat, leave them questioning their decision if we get some drowned. And as much as I would like to see it drowned with some. Well, hello. Did you hear me talking? Now, I don't know how your golem buddy might react, so we won't really engage him as we make for the water. We're just going to keep on moving. Oh, this is... I don't know that I've ever had any of these go quite as smoothly. This is perfect scenario. So it's still daylight. We're hopefully going to be getting, mostly lit ride back to our cavern. And if it all works out perfectly, it will just be getting dark as we get him out of the boat. And without any risk to life or limb or his safety, we'll find him eagerly seeking one of the available beds. By the time they wake up in the morning, we'll have a couple compost bins. They'll wake up to find their new chosen professions. And we'll start to make sure they have real full bellies. So, yeah, that's the plan, and it's really coming together. Then the other thing we can do is start to prepare the space for their future generations to live in. I guess the only thing I could really do to goof this up is to miss it, but it always seems like a longer ride than I expected. I kind of think, oh man, did we already pass it? Did we miss it? Nah, lots of mountains, lots of icebergs. But we're getting there. And don't worry, your buddy, the first volunteer, he's already been there, probably doing some cleaning for you. Just getting everything nice. Yeah, I mentioned the linens. Clean, crisp white. You don't have to worry. Nobody else has been using them. They're sanitized for your protection. Not a bit of corona in this place. Nope, not a bit. Okay, so here's our quick little jump in and out of the boat maneuver. Now, true to form, there's no beds over there, but he's checking out the new work, which is fair. He's wondering what the woodwork's like in his new home. They saw my flyer that I showed him with details, about the new suites of... Oh, see, he's already picked his bed. Now you're going to come over. Come on over. There's a door over here. You want me to open these doors for you? But you need to go to bed. It's bedtime. Come on. Lots of beds to choose from. Don't be shy. Just pick one. Pick a bed. I know it can be tough moving away from home. For the first time, you're out seeing the world, but don't you worry. Come on over. Come on. Look at your buddy. He's sleeping. He's so comfortable in this bed. You, on the other hand, sir, are not. You're kind of making me stressed. Why won't you just chill? I know you don't have a job yet. We'll get you one if you go to bed now. Go to bed, and then you get a job. Go on. Come on, over here. Look, it's kind of like a door. It's a gate. You love doors. I remember. There you go. All right. Look at all those beds. Why? What are you doing, dude? I knew it was going too well. This clearly, he is attached to a bed, likely back in his old village, and until either we find somebody that isn't already attached to a bed, or break it, which is what I've run into with professions in the past, and why I wanted the unemployed guys. He'll struggle to settle down. But I'm thinking maybe he'll just time out. If he waits long enough, maybe he'll forget his old bed. I don't know. I mean, do I go back to the... I guess I do. Let's go back to the village and just see if, we're going to unleash zombie apocalypse on these poor other guys. I hope he understands what he's doing. He must not have liked the residents of his old village. He kind of left in a huff, but if there's an unoccupied bed that we find in the village without getting everything all blown up, we will break it. And hopefully that will let him... You see that creeper up on the ice? Hopefully that will let him settle back in and go to sleep tonight, because we definitely want him to sleep tonight and not just stay idly pacing. And if we come to the village in the day and try to do this, we'd have to break all the beds. We won't even know, and there's still no guarantee by the time we get over there that we're going to find a bed that's not there. I don't know what's going on, but this is specifically why I said we wouldn't be grabbing any employed villagers, because I've dealt with exactly this behavior when they maintain their profession, even though you've pulled them 1,000 blocks away from wherever their original workplace was. They just kind of look for a path back to it, and presumably if you let them go, they would try to wander all the way back. They wouldn't make it, because in the middle of the night they'd get rushed by a zombie, infected, turn themselves, wait until daylight, and then burn in the sun. And that's not what any well-intentioned villager needs to be doing. But now, thanks to their silliness, we're going to have to run through a dangerous village and hope those golems are up to the challenge. Oh, creeper. Oh, nope. Nope. Don't hold me with that creeper coming. I don't care about you guys. I'm not worried, but I don't want to blow him up in the middle of the village. There you go. Boom. Go, golem. Get him. Do you get creepers too, or do you just get zombies? Look at him just work those guys. Well done, sir. Well done. Oh, you are my buddy. I'm not getting any closer to breaking beds, though. And I'm so terrified of those creepers coming. I don't want you to break any of these houses or my face. Now you're back behind that house, but maybe we can get by without you noticing. Nope, you're coming. What are you doing, dude? Go to bed. Oh my goodness. Bed occupied. Now, if all the beds are full and that guy can't find one, what in the heck is my guy doing? It just boggles the mind, these crazy... crazy villagers. I did not want my bed there. I wanted my bow. Now we're far away from Golem Central. He's busy elsewhere. But I think this is just going to end up being a wild killing things in a village night, we're not going to make any real progress on this bed situation. There's no beds in the church that I know of. I think this is the far side of town. That probably means that there's a bunch of creepers now headed in this direction. That bed is occupied. It's a simple task, you'd think. All we got to do is run around. This is the library that we almost blew up. No beds here. Fortunately, we fixed the fence, but there's a little hole. Can we? Yep. Okay. Now, I think we just checked this one, but we'll come back through. Somebody in it. I don't want to fall in the cave. Where the original... See, yeah, you're looking for a bed too. There's not one there. I would gladly give you a bed, sir, but you and your idiot buddy decided that you wanted to hang on to the idea of a bed instead of an actual bed, apparently. I don't understand. I'm not judging, but again, you're safe. You're full. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I love the sound of the golem just going down, dropping the hammer. Yeah, come try to play, Skelly. Man, I'm bringing iron back for you. You are my homie, golem. Boom. Just done. Like, what? Oh, were you talking there, zombie? It's still... I don't know. And anybody watching this video, if you can come up with where... Oh, done. See you, bed. I don't see anything up here, but maybe that was it. We'll see. The sun's just coming up. That, fingers crossed, that was the answer to our oddly behaving zombie. There's another creeper just to end the night. Usually when you're out, adventuring through the evening, you'll see that the various monsters spawn in waves, and usually just before dawn, when you're finally thinking everything is done and calming down, that's when you get a last little pop and plenty of excitement for the little bit before the sun vulnerable mobs start burning up. But again, hey, we got 2 creepers and a zombie. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking. What the? We were well on our way away. Man, always seems like when they go in a village, they just crater the whole area, and I always feel... Does anybody else feel obliged to fix creeper holes in the middle of a village? I mean, we don't really know these people, and if they stay out at night, they're gonna get killed by zombies right away. I've seen it happen. It's not pretty. I do my best to look out for the well-being of one of their former residents, and the thanks I get is to have to fill holes in their middle of their village. It's ridiculous. And all I have is, I guess I got cobble too. We'll do the old cobble dirt fill. But yeah, I don't want to be known as the guy that not only came and made off with several residents, but also let a creeper blow up, and I don't think that was my fault. I think that was, I don't know, faulty creeper. I think we were clearly making tracks out of the area, but I know they're not going to fix it. Oh man, I thought that was another creeper. It might have just been a cat. And now we're out of dirt. Well, I think we made a lot of progress, don't you? And you're still a paper dude? Man... Where did your library... There it is, over here. So now you're so far away that even if I break it, you're not going to come back. We're out of here. Done and done. Good luck to you all. No hard feelings. I've got a crossed fingers and toes that breaking that bed settled our resident in. At the very least, it was a white bed, which is kind of nice. We can add it to our supply. And yeah, that one farmer never seemed to really find his own home. And we didn't exactly rectify that, but frankly, he may not have made it through the night. We don't really know unless he's stuck to the golem like glue. He's not well equipped to handle the challenges of nighttime village. So we'll wish him the best, all of them. No hard feelings, and good luck to him. Maybe we'll be back. It's on the way to further adventure. We got a lot more ocean. Maybe we have a lot more ocean. At any point, it could just curve back into the land that we started from, but it's certainly on the way out from home. But between now and then, we got lots more fun to be had with these two villagers, and hopefully Tweedledum or Tweedledee. Which one? Tweedledee and Tweedledum, or Tweedledum and Tweedledee? Either way, the second guy we brought back who wouldn't get into bed doesn't know what's good for him. And of course, now they're going to spend the day bouncing around because there's no way in heck that they're going to just hang out in the area. We'll give them some compost bins and hopefully jobs, and maybe that will draw them into the area so we can kind of corral them where we need them to be. But it started off so good. It was really too good to be true, and a little more expected behavior at this point. But it's a tough adjustment. They're leaving home. They're trying to make sense of their new environment. Let's not give them a hard time. Okay, we're done. We won't talk about it. Here we go. So, how was your night? Did you guys enjoy it? Was it a good, pleasant start? So there's you. Okay, there are you. You both are here. That's good. Now, how do you both feel about vegetables? Are you fans? I hope so, because I'd like you two to get into the produce business. Have you heard of Jolly Green Giant or Dole? Those are both very reputable and well-established providers of only the freshest and most easily prepared veggies. So now what I'm hoping is that, here we go, they will both come to the compost bins to initially get their job. And now they got the cool yellow hats. Hey guys, nice hats. Those will keep the sun off in here. I mean, yeah, you're going to see the sun again someday. Just keep trading veggies, and then we'll take a field trip to go see the sun, okay? Just show me how good of farmers you are first. So now they've got jobs, and really even before we worry about what their jobs are, we want to give them the means to start filling in this room. And we're not going to, we definitely want to get to the point of having librarians all over the place. Got a few more steps to do before we get to that, but the first step is let's get the new residents of this room, and we'll kind of go in order, as we'll have room for 6 compost bins, and as those guys get their jobs, we'll keep them as the ones in. They'll all claim beds, and all we'll have to do is keep track, once we have 6, which are the 2 remaining beds. And we may even play around with that a little bit. And, by breaking and making available beds for whoever the odd men out are, we may make these 2 or something, the last 2 breeding beds, and we can put them down, let them have more villagers, and then as soon as they've had them, we'll break the beds, open up the gates in the other rooms after the others go to sleep that have beds, and they'll be forced to move over and claim the otherwise unclaimed beds in these rooms. So we got to start. If you can't tell, I'm happy that that's moving along, and yeah, let's keep after it. So hopefully, and I haven't been watching, this is something that's actually kind of important. I would like to see them successfully breed, so I make sure I'm not missing an element, which I don't do this all the time, so it wouldn't surprise me. But usually, there's certain times a day, I think, and various factors. Once you know that they're okay with the space, though, and you've seen it go once, there's a heart. But sometimes they will watch for a little like lightning bolt cloud thing above his head. Yeah, don't talk to me. Go talk to her, him, whatever. You guys talk to each other. Yeah, all right. So good. We've got success. Now we're gonna just rain the potatoes back in their direction, so their hidden inventories remain chock full of potatoy goodness. Every potato they could possibly want, hopefully they have, and never feel like they're short any of those potatoes. That way, every opportunity that they have, there's no reason for them not to make another villager. And until we've filled up a number of these individual rooms, we'll just kind of try to keep them at max capacity when it comes to that. Ultimately, we're going to need to have a couple of these beds ready to go when we do fill up their room, but they don't go quite that quick. We got a little window of time here. We're not on too sharp a deadline, so we'll just kind of keep plugging away at some of these various tasks. With as much coal as I have, a part of that is that we'll get some more cobble here along the way here, and I can actually use this andesite. That's not man. So we can use the andesite to fill in the hole, and then you grab the stone pot. Well done. But yeah, I think the mix of a uniform, not all over the place stone, but a nice base. And we need to carve out another section so we get some more cobble here. So let's do that. Why? What is your deal with the beds, dude? Pick one and get in it. I get the one insomniac villager. Let me tell you, man, you're gonna end up on a boat trip to nowhere. And let me tell you how the boat trip to nowhere ends. It involves me having a second boat, and I get out of the boat that you're in. Are you listening? Are you paying attention? And I leave you, and the sun goes down. And since you don't seem capable of getting out of any boats, you just, you have a real bad night. And I don't want you to have that. I want you to have a good night. So get in bed. Get in bed. There are no beds back home. Whatever bed you think was yours, it's gone. It either got blown up or it was the one I broke, but all the other beds had people sleeping in it. So even if you think you had one of your old buddies took it. As soon as you were out of sight, probably in the middle of the day, just took a nap to claim it from all the others. So frustrating. Dude. Although, by the way, this is why we don't we don't worry about trades or professions or any of that kind of stuff until we get them set. I'm sorry, dude. This isn't your fault. This is your buddy's. Totally. You see, you jump right into the next bed. Do you think he stole your bed? I just, I'm lost. All right, you gotta do another bed. Get in a bed. I never seen anybody like you, dude. But I tell you what, man. By the time he grows up, if you haven't started sleeping, it's over. Oh, look. And he's even the exorcist. He's floating in the air above his bed. I don't care. Ghostbusters it? Fine with me. This is the entertainment that our villagers give us. Anyhow, we can't, they say you can't, there's some things you just can't control in the world. Well, one of them is the behavior of your villagers. So I'm not going to let it distract me from the important work that we need to do. For the eventual villagers we'll have that will sleep in beds. This isn't a typical behavior for real people or Minecraft villagers. They know that sleep is important, and they just suck it up and go to bed. I mean, toddlers, sure, they fight it hard. Most kids do. Some adults do. Sometimes we all do. We know, hey, I should go to bed, but you're doing something you don't want to stop, and you stay up late. But in this case, we may have to toe a tough line, because I tell you what, this is premium living, bud. Did he get in? Did he go to bed? Oh my God, he went to bed. Hey, good job, buddy. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I wish you. Oh, you're just, man, you're tense. I don't know if I can get a masseuse in here, but I bet you would actually get a better night's sleep if you didn't take all your weight on your neck like that and just plank it in reverse. I don't even know if that's humanly possible to hold all your body weight with your neck like that, but I'm impressed. I'll tell you that much. Okay, this hopefully is, yeah, we got a full stack, so let's cook our cobble into stone. Let's swap. We don't have the wood yet, but let's swap some oak. I don't want the confusing blocks in there. We've still got some iron, but I don't, if it comes to it, I don't mind bringing that back home again. And working with it there. We're not particularly short on it. And we need, those are planks. Okay. So that would all be okay, but I think most folks are probably getting the gist of how I manage this. All comedy with the not going to sleep little kid villager aside. It's a pretty good system when you do work out the initial bumps and snags of getting them lined up. They seem to pretty quickly adapt and just start flowing naturally the way you would kind of hope they would, where they'll just naturally go to the next available bed. And yeah, if one of them isn't settled and you break a bed, it may take them a while to get there, but usually in the course of a night, their pathfinding will be good enough to get them settled and squared away. So I think that will work out pretty well. Now, since we have the beds ready, we're gonna need books or bookcases or books or whatever, bookcases, I think, to make the lecterns. And the good news is our cows are absolutely outperforming. They're ready to go. So we got loads of leather. And now that we have our sugar ready to go, we can make loads of paper. And those two pieces can go go very well so that when these guys wake up, they will hopefully be ready to spawn another young villager. And even by the time he grows up, maybe we'll have a few more ready in the wings. And I think we may not get it all in this play session, but we'll give them every opportunity to succeed. That's what's important. Villager personal growth and development. Sounds. You hear those sounds? Those are skeletons cooking outside, where it's scary and dangerous. My humble residents. Hope you appreciate what we've got going here for you. So we may continue with the lantern and not bother with pillars in the middle. Usually I would just kind of section these off in a repeating pattern, but we'll have lots of opportunity, and frankly, we just don't even really have ready resources yet to finish up the others. But this is what I was talking about. The young guys, they can run around freely, and we already have another. So we got two bred up. Now I'm hoping that the current fence configuration doesn't cause them an issue and they won't fall in the gap there. That's something I don't know if I've exactly had it set up like that before. But that's why I throw so many potatoes early on, because they will actually keep at it for a while, and we really won't have to restock them for a little bit. The only thing we really need to watch for is that while we want to keep these gates closed, while the little guys are little, they can get trapped away from the beds if they grow up outside. And then we'll just have to wait until night, till everyone goes to sleep. And I hope, sir, that you behave. We'll let them go to bed. We'll swap them out and be back at it. While we wait for that to cook, though, let's go visit home. We got a few random little bits from our exciting night in the village. We've got I'd like to cook some more stone while we're back. Just set up our two, or maybe one of the two ovens. We've got some raw iron here that we can cook. But I'd definitely like to get that going, and maybe also take what leather we do have and make books out of it. Because we've got loads of sugar to make paper, and I would, we'll need 46 books just to equip ourselves for the eventual enchanting that we're going to want to do independent of these villagers. So lots of need for books, but we got tons of leather, and if we need to, we can reharvest sugar. I would expect that maybe that's already grown again. I'm not sure how close we are to in proximity, but certainly close enough to keep it moving, I would guess. So, if we'd been really efficient, which I'm not fooling anybody, that's not going to happen. We left all this other stuff, the planks of both types and the slabs, back over. The other thing that I wanted to get was, we're just going to go ahead and grab the remainder of our spruce gates and take them over there. We know we have a need. Sure, we may need to enclose more animals and need more gates over here too, but when we're out and about, it's easy enough to pop over and get some more spruce wood. We don't have any logs ready, but that doesn't mean we can't go get more. So, not as worried about that. Drop these seeds. Paper. Now that's going to represent a stack of 64, and I think it's so nice to have that already set at this point. So, for books, each piece of leather needs 3 pieces of paper, and you just drop them on in. Boom, books. Now we need a bunch of wood, and we'll just kind of max out. Boom. The configuration for setting these up is just like that. So now we got 21 bookshelves, and we have our slabs, so we can demo this. If I'm doing this right by recollection, boom. That's how we make a lectern, and that's how we're going to turn other villagers into excited, willing traders. I want to hang on to 15 bookcases here because those are going to go around my eventual enchanting table. So, excuse me. Let's just make the bunch if we can. The good news is those do stack. So we're already prepared to get 3 more librarians as a result of all this. We're gonna, because we kind of used our wood down, let's take 2 sets of these and just store them ready to go. Since we have the opportunity, let's combine these picks. It's amazing how just one session away kind of you come back home and it's like, oh man, all right, we got all this cool stuff. We got Oi waiting for us. That's certainly makes it feel more like a home than it may if we were just out. That can keep cooking. Let's not be as dependent on the local coal we may find. Let's grab another stack and be able to top off the furnace we have back there while we're working. That's gonna allow us to keep the natural stone. We've just added a bit more wood. We've got our lecterns. I'm kind of going through the mental checklist here. This is way in advance of where we really need to be at, but let's make some more books. While we're at it. Lots of paper. 18 books is going to go a long way. That will allow us to, if we pop a villager early on that has just an awesome trade, and we don't even want to leave it to chance that they may switch their offer or pull it back. That's when we want to get them locked in. So to that end, if I recall, and probably I'm getting this wrong, I get, as you guys have all seen, plenty of mistakes. Anybody that says they're perfect is just editing videos, or there's probably a few that have played enough, and somebody would come back and tell me how wrong I am. But for the most part, nobody can know everything about this game. They may have the wiki up, they may have some experience that helps them out beyond what you or I may have from playing, but we're all going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect in games or otherwise, so don't be too concerned. I have seen in chats for other streamers how many people say, "Oh, I'd be terrified to play." You play so much better than I do, and to their credit, every streamer seems pretty unanimous in their response. And maybe there some edgelords out there that really bash their own audiences, but the folks I see, at least, are so encouraging of people that, hey, don't get down, don't worry about it. You're you're gonna learn every time that you have mistakes or do things wrong, and don't get hung up on perfection. Like I continue to say, try to add layers of safety around your game as you're playing and setting up your world. Try to make it so that you don't have those multiple unexpected things that take you from a kind of a dangerous situation to a really troublesome or potentially world-ending situation. And I said that you guys watched me get blown up on day one, so it happens to everyone, regardless of how good or how bad. Something will always come along to keep you on your toes or keep you learning for the next time. And yeah, just don't let a fear of failure keep you from trying a new technique. I'm coming from the perspective here that most everybody watching plays Minecraft at some point or another. So that isn't as big a concern as just good. I'm glad to see you guys all snugged into your beds, except for you. You're young. Maybe you're that toddler we were talking about earlier, but at least all the adults are settled in. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when we close and relaunch, we'll be in a better place. So we kind of equipped ourselves here for. Oh, maybe that's what it was. I should not have done this. Let's pop these back up because no idea if he may have bound himself to one of these two beds, even though it wasn't nighttime. I don't know, but I don't want to run that risk. So yeah, he's just a weird villager like all the others. Go to bed. All right, as I was saying, we've now equipped ourselves to Oh, I didn't save out the 15. Let's not try to forget that. And I don't want the lecterns out either until needed because I want these guys to first take the farmer jobs and get those locked in. So we do have a fresh thing. We're gonna load up some more cobble to cook. We've got a couple more gates, and as much as I was joking about the sound of the rain and all that, and it was kind of poorly timed when we were hoping to go get our villagers. There's times when worlds seem to rain a ton. Sometimes you get into them. Technically, aside from the fact that it can't rain in the desert, and it will just get cloudy when there's a storm or when it's raining in other parts of the world, and it will snow in the mountains. There's, as far as I know, nothing in seeds or anything like that that's going to say your world is a rainy world. Enjoy, have a good time. It kind of comes and goes in waves, and you tend to notice it more at times, or it may be off and on rainy repeatedly, and that will catch your attention. But I don't know. It seems as though if we're gonna get rain, I would love to have it right now while we're gonna be busy, and certainly have loads of work to do around and with these villagers, as opposed to if we were exploring or out in a forest or something like that, and just that added bit of darkness has suddenly got unwanted mobs spawning all over the place. Here we're in a nice, safe, secure spot. Let this world get its need to produce rain out now. This is the perfect time for it. You just do your thing, world. Keep it up and get it out of your system. Don't know that will really work, but we'll try to encourage it. So here we go. As you can see, this is that idle, just kind of dressing up work. But now that we have stone and the coal to keep cooking stone, and the likely addition of more cobble along the way. I mean, we're close. I think we put 54 pieces back in that chest, so it's not too far from where we will have another batch to go. And while we may need a bit more than that ultimately, it won't be tons. We're pretty close, and we talked about that's a gap. Those are the things that cause trouble when you forget to fill them in. That guy's still awake. Kid, you need your sleep. Sleep's important. You want to be healthy. You want to grow up to be a big, strong villager. So go to bed. Alright. Now when we do get to overflow capacity, we will have nice secure little spots. Let's get this switched out to a post. Yeah. Staying up and watching this, huh? Go to bed. Box. Alright, that, you can just kind of constantly keep double checking, see if, well, like over here, there's a missing torch. Just, keep filling in the little gaps, knocking out the little to-do items. I like the ceiling idea. I think we've got a lot of stone, and it's going to continue to improve in its appearance. Just for the sake of distinction, put our wheat away in there. Since we have quite a bit of stone now showing up in our ceiling and the hallways outside and in these floors and walls, I think the wood ceiling here will make that not seem quite as just, never ending. And I don't know, it'd be nice to do something with these outer walls eventually, but I think from here we'll try to keep progress on the individual accommodations. Minimum, we want to do another 2 sections all the way across, and those will all be individuals. So we've got work to do and have endless villager shenanigans to observe as we go. This is certainly not something we're going to be knocking out tonight, even in my real time, but in the next couple videos. I keep meaning to check our run time on this one, and we'll do so just so we kind of know how far we're getting. I don't want to get these over long, but when you start working on these projects where it's not just, all right, I made 2 runs out to the mine and harvested some crops, that feels like a full session. Here, you just go underground and dig and wait for each night to pass. And when we start sleeping on the nights, they'll all kind of run together, and it'll just be swinging an axe at lecterns until we see something good and then grabbing it. But I like where we're going with this so far. I hope and welcome you guys' feedback. If you think it looks good, or if you think there's something a trick we're missing that we could add in along the way. Here, not that back wall. I see those back walls. They're all different, but we don't really need to worry about those, as we'll be pushing further back in that direction. So this room's safe, and we'd made a conscious effort there that we wouldn't have to break anything to set them back up. So we should be good. Buddy, it's almost morning. I really wish you'd go to bed. Good. I'm glad you went to bed. It was just as easy as doing that. Who knew? Stuck on the gate, apparently. Or some such thing. Now, they're all up. I'm glad he found a bed he liked before sunrise. I'm going to prep this. Currently, we can break iron ingots, and we certainly have plenty of those. So we can make more lanterns. But I think, we don't need that much light, really. But having one, I think it's nice to continue that look. And we'll just keep dropping a few more in here and there. And this, again, they won't be able to jump up into that higher space lantern or not. I don't know if lanterns even, if you get hung up trying to walk through lanterns, or if they behave more like torches. But either way, they work pretty well. So here we go. We've got one more gentleman that has now grown into farming age, and it's a union. They're very restrictive and quality controls and standards. So we had to wait until the coming of age dance for him before we could give him his straw hat. But sir, come find your profession. That's awesome. Now we've got 5, so certainly others have continued to go. When one more of these pops, he'll get switched into... no, I'm sorry. We're only halfway through the process. We want 6 of these guys to be farmers, and then we'll swap them out. So let's just add some more in case they're running low. We got loads of potatoes. Just kind of mosh pit on that. And here's some more in case anybody missed. Yeah, you guys just have the old swap meet and divvy those up amongst yourselves. Do your thing. I'm gonna get in your business. Okay, so doubling. Don't have enough, but that stone should be close. So we'll just drop in those 2. That caught my eye. That was what hung me up there. Oh, look at that. Just perfect timing. So here we go. We're going to finish up the floor here. Make this look as appealing as possible, but it has to be the functionality of grabbing those lecterns once we're out there. Oh, you guys are playing tag? Awesome. Have fun. Don't fall in holes. I'm just wondering here. Maybe since that's just plain stone, we add something there. I think that helps break it up a little bit. I guess we could use the plain oak, but the dark is kind of the theme we've been going with here. So let's pop another one here. We got some more torches to place here and here. Still looking, what else might we be overlooking or missing that could cause trouble? Man, you guys in your levitation, so weird. You guys, I don't think you're supposed to sit in the composter. You do you. I'm not telling you how to do your job. You guys are the farmers, but it seems a little odd. Okay, daytime. We're making great progress here. What we're going to do now is yank the stuff we don't need. No, 1, 2, 3. We're going to bring those back before I accidentally use them. We're going to put away all this stuff that we do want to use here. We're going to reload that. All right, we got lecterns, books, and what emeralds we do have. I'm taking out all this junk just to keep them ready to go. And might as well be cooking more here. It's a slow, right now it's not efficient, but good enough. So we're going to clear out a little bit of inventory space. Again, all that stuff is just pretty much garbage anywhere, but it certainly is unneeded here. And I do want to, after I check the time, see how long we've been going, I want to flip the fields, maybe even do our chickens, particularly cows maybe, but again, we've still got leather we haven't used, and we've now got plenty of books for current trading. Well, it won't last forever, but it'll get us started, and enough more leather to set us up for our eventual enchanting too. So we've got, I think what do we have? 6 total lecterns, or the equipment bookcases to make 6 lecterns, which is a lot when it comes to your first villagers. And I know we touched on it in a previous video. I know we won't get the same great prices that we would if we were using healed villagers here, but we will never buy so many books that it's that inefficient or worth, at this early point in the game without potions and all that, delaying to try to infect them and then heal them and then repeat the whole process. So instead, we're just gonna harvest what we've got here and take back. Well, these are, I guess, this is the drawback of spending all the time away. We don't have a ton here, so I know we're getting a little long on our video time. All right, before I do anything more, bear with me here. We're just checking the runtime. Yeah, we're already up over 2 hours. So, let's go ahead and go back into the house. We don't want to start, right there, because I'm not sure. Yeah, I want to keep going. I want to get the first of our librarians going, even if that isn't entirely reasonable. I think we've got momentum. It's nice to see that through to completion. So the next one may be pretty quick, but again, I do think it's nice to, we'll just kind of end it here looking at Oi and be ready to have him greet us when we return. So with that, we're going to save and quit. And I, as always, want to thank each and every one of you guys for dropping by and enjoying the video. I know it's what a fitting message up above the behind the slide here. I don't know if everybody got to appreciate that, but we know about exploding creepers. Again, thanks so much for coming by. Feel free to drop a comment, give me a like or a subscribe in YouTube would be certainly helpful, and let me know that you guys are out there. If anybody has any ideas as to the themes that the world name and the various pets have provided along the way, that's great. I know the savvy out there will probably just look it up, but I'd ask you not to. This is an early world. We're going to be a fairly small audience until we get going, and there's nothing on the line other than having a shared bit of common background. So not worth looking up, not even worth Googling, but it will probably answer it for you very quickly. So if you know it off the top of your head, if it rings a bell and brings back a memory for you, go ahead and drop that in the comments would be awesome. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much again for tuning in, and have a great time, however long it is until our next video. Bye now.